Hey guys, check this out. I'm wearing a BRZ shirt for BRZ review. Jealous. Alright, and while I do this awkward circle in this parking lot right here, I am going to tell you guys that I am actually very pleased to finally be able to review this Subaru BRZ. This is actually a 2013 limited edition, so that means it's got the wing on it, it's got summer tires, and it's got, you know, a few other crazy awesome features on it. Now, for those of you who are curious, I'm going to give you some just general information. This car is it's got the FA20 from Subaru, so it's a 2-liter, and it's got about 200 horsepower, but that's not wheel horsepower, so it's lacking a little bit in that area. It's not to the wheels, but that's okay. One thing I want to touch on before I start talking about the functionality and what this car does, I want to point out that this car, it would be an incredible car for someone who is really learning to drive for several reasons. So the first time I got in this car, the clutch, this is a 6-speed manual. One thing I noticed about this car is the friction point or the biting point, whatever the heck you actually want to call it, it's very far back in this car. So that being said, people who are just starting to drive these cars, or just starting to drive in general, if you're learning on a manual, this car I think would be perfect to learn on because you've got a lot of room for movement in the clutch. Not only that, this car would be absolutely incredible to start off with because, well, it doesn't have a lot of power, and that's, you know, that's to no surprise. If you've watched any videos or have read anything about this car is not powerful. It is rear-wheel drive, so it'll teach you how to control a car. It really teaches you the fundamentals of a rear-wheel drive car, and it's actually pretty sporty. But you know, I am more of a driver, and you know, my job is not to tell you what the car is capable of, it's to tell you what it actually does. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take off stability and traction control, and I'm actually going to tell you what this thing does. Wow. So, like I said, this is a 2013 BRZ. It's the limited edition, and the limited actually does not come with all season tires. It comes with summer tires, and these are Michelin something 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 somethings, but they're 215s. 215s. You know, before I ever even thought about driving this car, before I ever even really researched them and knew what they were, the first thing I ever thought whenever they came out was, man, why would you put lawnmower tires on a car like this? Like these, it comes with 215s. There's something missing from this car, man. This car just is crazy in the turns, but it's like, it needs something else. It needs some extra oomph to it. Now, while this motor is extremely torquey, and that's just how boxers are, it's like it's not rewarding enough coming out of a corner. This thing can corner incredibly well, considering that this thing is completely unmodded. The problem is there's no power up high in this car, and it really kind of suffers, and it kind of puts a damper on the driving. But this car is a very, very fun, spirited driving car. I mean, because of the, I know this is the premium edition, but because of just the whole layout that you've got here, the steering wheel is very small. The seats are very, very tight. I mean, you are not moving in this seat at all. This car has such a small wheelbase, which is very, very respectable, and it's a very good quality to have. Not only that, one of the first things I noticed was, oh my goodness, the turning radius of this car is incredible, which is very desirable if you want to turn this car into something that it's not from factory. What also does not feel rewarding is when you've got a person driving 20 miles an hour in front of you. I'm about to die. I'm about to explode. There we go, testing the brakes out. Ooh, that's really good actually. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and floor it. I chirped in a second, and And considering these are summer tires, that means that there's torque there. Like I said, definitely torquey. I'm starting to feel this car kind of slide out on me a little bit, which I don't like. But again, that's tires. That can always be changed. I am hauling pretty fast right now, and I'm saying this is definitely a good thing. Add this to the list of awesome things about this car is extremely stable. So, I mean, I am driving not slow right now, and this car is doing a very good job of responding to how I'm telling this car to drive. Oh man. So yeah, the more and more I just drive the piss out of this car, the more and more fun it actually is. I like this car because, you know, from a driver's perspective, I don't recommend you drive super crazy, but from a driver's perspective, this car does what you want it to do, and it's very snappy and responsive. So, you know, if I start to lose it, all I gotta do is snap back into position, and it's good. I mean, this car is very easy to drive. Couldn't even break loose in first gear. Come on. So really quickly, I want to speak to the interior. There's a few things about this car. This is a very cool car. I mean, it's nice on the inside. This particular model has the heated seats. It's got premium audio. It's got, you know, yada yada yada. You can read all of that on the internet. What I don't like about the premium audio is that, well, there are no buttons up here. Everything is touchscreen, which isn't a bad thing, but it's very, very, very distracting because you can't feel anything, you know, with your hands. You actually have to be looking. So if you're wanting to look through and do anything with the audio, well, you actually have to be concentrating on what's over there and not what's in front of you. Also, this steering wheel has not a single button on it. In regards to that, you don't have any controls on the steering wheel. You don't have volume or anything, so everything has to be done in the center. So it's very distracting, and I really don't see why they decided to design the car like this, because it almost just seems like it's a terrible idea, to be completely honest. One thing that just blows my mind, I have no idea why they did this, but I don't know if the entire 86 series, I'm just going to go ahead and call it that, I don't know if the entire series has this, but the 12-volt charger is right here in this little center console area, which, by the way, there is no center console, which also bugs the crap out of me. That's another complaint I've got. But the auxiliary and USB is right up here. The auxiliary is up here, and the USB is up here, and the 12 volts back here. Why? Unless you just don't have legs, you're not going to be sitting back there, so it's not like they need to be using this. You know, as many complaints as I have, this car seriously would be perfect for somebody who wants a weekend driver that wants to build a race car, because honestly, if you put, I know this is easy for me to say, but you know, you put 10 grand into the motor and you put 4 or 5 grand into tires and suspension, you have a serious race car. Well, with that being said, this car does have potential. The only problem that I've got with it is you have to spend money, a lot of it, for this car to actually be what you want it to be. Unless you just want the car just because you want it. This car is a very stylish car. From the front headlights to the rear, everything about this car is pretty desirable looking. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, these things do look pretty cool. Not to mention, I love this color of silver. It is awesome. This is a pretty good car. It is just, I'm gonna say it, and the internet's gonna hate me for it, but it is underpowered. It is very underpowered. So guys, this is going to conclude my video review of the Subaru BRZ Limited Edition. If you have any questions whatsoever, you can follow mine or Ethan's Wheelwell. Ethan actually has a Wheelwell. He might answer your questions, but if you have any questions about this car in particular, you can always ask me in the comment sections, because I'm always checking them. So seriously, if you have anything on your brain, if you have any questions whatsoever, feel free to comment. Thank you guys so incredibly much for watching. I don't actually only just do reviews, so if you check my channel, I do a lot of other stuff. I do how-tos, I do vlogs and stuff like that. So if that piques your interest, well, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and you will be satisfied. I promise. Peace out, guys. Subscribe, and I will see you guys next video.